This is the iKKO Asgard OH5, a high-end IEM that promises to change how you use your ears. We dive headfirst into the world of audiophile gear. Some may consider this to be too expensive, but is it worth it? The unboxing experience for the Asgard OH5 is, quite frankly, the best unboxing experience I've ever had for a product, period. The outer shell is very visually distinct. You may be wondering why the box is so dang big. Well, there's quite a bit in here. First and foremost, you have the IEMs. This middle piece, I don't believe actually does anything. I tried pulling on it and I'm afraid of tearing the box up, so I didn't bother. As you can see here, there are two pull tabs for both of these IEMs. And wow, these things look amazing. They're visually distinct, unlike most other headphones I've ever seen. The outer shell is made out of titanium and resin, and it looks amazing. And wow, there's a whole drawer in this box. It's pretty wild. You have 6 pairs of sponge ear tips as well as 6 pairs of rubber ear tips. Why would they provide so many pairs of ear tips? Well, because people's ears are different. If you do end up buying one of these, you should test out every single one to see which one's the best fit. Personally, I prefer rubber ear tips, so I'm gonna go with those. These ear tips are fairly easy to install onto your IEMs. All you have to do is take your ear tips and push them in the right place. Yes, that's where they go. Before you do anything else, you should stick these in your ears. I should also mention that left and right ears are labeled on the IEMs themselves as well. So just stick them in the right ears and you'll know if they fit. And I think I must have gotten lucky because these fit quite well in my ears. Now let's look at this next accessory right here. This right here is a full-on leather case. A leather carrying case to stuff your IEMs in. It's pretty amazing, really. This is also where your wires are stored, and as you can see here, they give you a lot of wires. Well, more specifically, they give you one nicely length wire, and a bunch of different plugs too, in case you have any DACs that require 2.5mm jacks instead of the standard 3.5mm jack. And I have to say, this cable is quite robust. These are definitely the thickest headphone wires I've ever dealt with. And it feels really nice too. So my favorite feature when it comes to these IEMs are the modularity. You know, for the purposes of this video, we're just gonna use the stock IEM cables that come with the Asgard. But let's say you need different cables, or perhaps your cable breaks. You can unplug the earpieces from the cable itself and then plug them into a replacement cable as well. And they make all sorts of cables of all different types of materials. In the case of the Asgards, if you're looking for replacement cables, be sure to get one with the 2-pin prongs. Plugging them in isn't that difficult, though you do have to be a bit precise. This cable in particular also comes with a handy dandy little protector. It protects you from plugging it into your Steam Deck. So one thing I will say is that this connector is absolutely massive, like it sticks out like a sore thumb. The Asgard's cable not only comes with a 3.5mm headphone jack, but you can actually swap out the jack for different jacks of different types. Alongside the 3.5mm jack, it also comes with a 2.5mm jack and a 4.4mm jack. Most devices that still have a headphone jack, like this Steam Deck, will just use a 3.5mm jack. These other jacks though are more for specific audiophile grade gear, stuff that you probably don't have in your house, but it's there in case you do. But if you're an audiophile, you're probably not watching my videos for audiophile advice. It's easy to plug in, just align the pins and you're good to go. It only plugs in one way, so there's no chance of you getting it wrong. Also inside the bag is some sort of keychain with a little anime fox girl medallion. That's pretty cool, I guess. It's also nice that this whole thing is made out of leather. Also attached to the wire itself is a sort of cable tie that you can use to tie up the cable. Who'da thunk it, right? The case opens and closes using magnets. Magnets, how do they work? Well, they kind of work like this. Unfortunately, this case will not fit in your default Steam Deck case. It's just too big. And you know what, that's kind of a shame, but honestly, I don't really use the default Steam Deck bag anymore. More on that in a future video. You could try to use the keychain to loop the thing around the Steam Deck's handle, but honestly, that's a little cumbersome and way too much effort for me, so don't do this. Also, remember how I mentioned that the coolest thing about IEMs are the modularity? You're not just limited to using replacement cables, you can actually use Bluetooth adapters for these IEMs. Yes, these look way bigger than purpose-built truly wireless earbuds. And yes, the case is also way bigger than those as well. And heck, I'm not even sure these have active noise cancelling. But these sound a heck of a lot better than most normal AirPods and such. But Valve did update a promise for Bluetooth earbuds to select codecs. I'm gonna wait till Valve releases that update to do a video on Bluetooth earbuds. Now we're gonna play Ender Lilies. Ender Lilies is a great game, though I've already 100%ed it. Sometimes I wish I could just wipe the slate and start all over from the beginning again, but we can't do that, so here's New Game Plus. I firmly believe the soundtrack for Ender Lilies is the best part of the game. The soundtrack has a good mix of piano pieces, violin pieces, and fairly low-scaled orchestral pieces. Typically, the weakest part of most headphones are the highs. The highs don't sound that great typically, but here, the highs shine. Pianos have never sounded this good in my ear. The only real perceived weakness I can maybe hear is bass, and bass here is still way better than on most headphones to begin with. Now let's talk about price. This is not a cheap pair of earbuds. And while out of the box, these sound way better than any headphones I've ever used. These earbuds are still so much more capable than you realize once you unlock its full potential with more expensive gear like a DAC. More specifically, an external DAC. For those not in the know, DAC stands for Digital to Analog Converter. Every device meant to output audio somewhere has a DAC built into it. The Steam Deck's DAC is pretty good, but there are way more powerful external DACs out there. But I'm not about to dive into that rabbit hole. Not yet anyways. But I'm certainly not using a DAC, and given that I use my Steam Deck portably, I have no intention of bringing a DAC with me wherever I go. But on their own, the iKKO Asgard is definitely worth the price for a superior audio experience. And you know, yeah, we live in a world where Bluetooth earbuds are a thing, but the truth is that wired earbuds are still way easier than Bluetooth earbuds. It's one less thing to charge, and it's way harder to lose them. In my opinion, the only real negative is the fact that the case doesn't fit in the Steam Deck's default case, like in the back area. They have aftermarket IEM cases that could possibly fit in the back of the Steam Deck, but that's just another added cost. And yes, while I could use these on my Steam Deck, and believe me, I will be using these on my Steam Deck, I suspect I'll be using these more to assist me with all of the audio work in my videos that I do. They're just that good. It makes me want to dive in first into the world of audiophile hell. Ears first, of course. If you like high-tech lowlife, you should check out the rest of my channel. And if you like the rest of my channel, you should like, subscribe, and spread the good gospel of high-tech lowlife. Furthermore, we have a community Discord server. There's a link in the description down below. Check us out.